So yeah.
That's okay. Okay, we're live. So get your coughs out, girls. We're all live. Okay. What does girl code mean to you? And have you ever broken it? Are you ready for menopause? Are you going through the mysterious change? And are there things about the menopause that we can actually look forward to? Also, how the hell are you keeping warm this winter without going bankrupt? Because we're going to be swapping some toasty tips today to help you out. Okay. Now, did you hear that? Did you hear this? Did you hear the
Yeah,
harp just then?
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I thought yeah, let me do that again. Sound effects. Okay.
Oh.
Welcome to the Sisterhood of Mummy Imperfect. I'm Mummy Imperfect, aka Rena Deepthi Annabelle, and this is a podcast where you get your weekly dose of girl chat. This is another TPP episode, the Power Panel, where Rummy, Kirat, and I get together to discuss female-focused news stories, things that we want to get off our chest, basically. So stay with us for the next hour or so. So, ladies, let's get into it. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about is girl code, and there's a reason I want to talk about it because I have been watching Married at First Sight. I know that you guys are not fans, and let's just put it out there. I have certain different viewing habits to you guys, right?
Yeah. You
Okay.
need the trash in your life.
Yeah. So I am on that trash TV vibe, and I don't mind saying so. I took a little diversion to try and watch the Jeffrey Dahmer thing on Netflix.
Mhm.
Didn't last more than 2 episodes and then quickly came back to trash. Have you guys watched it, by the way?
No,
No, not
so
yet.
you made it to 2 episodes. I made it in like 15 minutes and I found it really eerie, but we'll talk about that later. But the documentary is better.
Okay. I couldn't watch any more of it. I watched
Yeah.
2 episodes and I was just like,
It's
I can't
sinister.
cope with it. There's
Yeah.
10 episodes. 10 episodes.
Yeah, it's really sinister. But yeah.
It's horrible. Okay, so, you might be watching, I don't know, documentaries, obviously trying to watch Jeffrey Dahmer. I've been watching Married at First Sight. And I'm a bit behind, and I know it's all come to an end right now, and they've had the reunion and everything, and I kind of know what's happened because if you're on social media, it's you can't keep away from this thing. But I'm still going to watch it anyway because I like it. Okay, and so people who don't know Married at First Sight, reality TV, there's these experts who match up people with the right match. The people like they fit on paper. The science kind of matches between like their personality types, what they're looking for, this kind of thing, and then it's basically a Indian old school arranged marriage. They see each other on the wedding day, okay, and then have to kind of take it from there. So obviously, these are people that want to be on TV anyway. There's a lot of drama. It's all a bit crazy and stuff. But there's a contestant was said to break girl code, basically. So a contestant called Whitney was matched with a guy called Duca, and a guy called Matt was matched with Gemma. So Whitney and Duca, they had no chemistry. Whitney didn't like him. She found him fake and annoying. Gemma and Matt both appeared into each other, both like heavily tattooed, and seemed to have a lovely wedding day, but then didn't hit it off. Matt got annoyed because she kept making vulgar comments, and because the way she showed her affections was through sex, and he didn't like that. That pushed him away, and then that didn't work out. And then Matt and Whitney then had a chat and decided that there was some chemistry between them, and then later on went away and kissed and spent the night together. But anyway,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. That was
I want to
deep.
go back to Dharma.
I want to go back to
I'll have a bit of Dharma, please.
Basically, okay, so this girl Gemma said to Whitney, "You got no girl code, okay? Because this was a marriage that was set up, and then she was kind of had a husband in inverted commas, and Gemma had a husband, and then there was kind of some wife swap going on between these people, right? Um, so this kind of thing about girl code, I wanted to talk about it for a while actually, because it does come up like, girl code, this is girl code, you've broken girl code and all this kind of thing. What does girl code mean to you?
I'm too old for phrases like girl code, so I didn't really have that
Are
growing up.
you
So
is it old lady code now?
I'm old lady code or a woman's code maybe, but girl code no doesn't really. It's one of these new things.
What?
doesn't really well, the phrase the girl code. No, were we
Guy
saying
code,
girl
girl
code?
code, it used to always exist, right?
No, did it?
It
Thanks,
did.
Like,
Rummy. It's been nice to know where we stand in the friendship after like
Yeah.
20 years.
no, but
have
that
no girl
doesn't. No, it doesn't mean I don't believe in it. But I mean the phrase itself. Like, if I, no, I don't really walk around going, oh,
Maybe it
changing
didn't
my
exist.
behavior because of girl code. I don't
Were
know.
you
Maybe it's
in
just more
Telford?
about
Dunno.
what?
Maybe it didn't exist in Telford, but it was a thing here. Girl code, guy code. Even
Listen,
like
No.
girl code is like, it's an unwritten set of rules, I think, that exists between girl friends.
But
Kenneth, what
it's.
are you gonna say?
I was going to say, but it's always been spoken about, and it's not just girl code. There's a guy code too, right?
Yeah.
Is there? Are they talking
Yeah.
about the guy code here? Did they mention the guy code here in
Yeah,
this
they did
scenario?
actually. They did. It's
did.
like, as a man, you don't do that because, well, obviously, it's trying to make it work with a girl, then another guy can't swoop in and then take the girl.
Right.
And also an ex. There's a thing about exes, like, you don't touch another guy's ex if you're friends, or with girls, you don't touch another girl's ex. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what you guys think of it, but then this is kind of one of these rules, apparently.
I just think it depends on your set of friends, to be honest, because I've
yeah.
dated two mates before, and that circle of friends, it was like I remember that night one asked me out. I actually liked the other mate, and it was like a competition between the two. But the one who had the guts to ask me was the one I ended up dating. But then a couple of years later, the other guy asked the other guy permission to date me, asked me out on a date, and we went on a date. And it had no bearing on any of the friendships in the circle. And to be honest, in that friend circle, lots of people had actually dated each other, but there was no kind of hard feelings between anyone in the friend circle. So that particular friend circle was all right, but doing that in another friend circle might have been a problem. So I think it depends on the code that you have between your friendship circles, not necessarily any of this kind of, this is the code for all women and this is the code for all men.
Yeah,
I guess
I think it's a bit. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure about it. I just think it's
no,
a
but
bit.
It's just weird.
Okay, the whole girl code thing, though, doesn't it just mean things like, looking after each other, supporting each other, being each other's cheerleader? If you're
Isn't that
out,
feminism?
Yeah, that's feminism, right?
this is okay. I don't know, because feminism is a whole other debate which we can
Yeah.
go into, right? Which we probably will go into at some point. But then this whole thing of, like, when you're out together, like, one of you gets drunk and you make sure you look after that person and get them home properly. I don't know, keep each other's secrets, don't blab it to people.
That's just being good friends.
Yes, it is. But it's things like, like, do you remember when we used to go clubbing and the friends used to make in the toilets? Do you remember toilet friends? Am I the only
What,
one?
meeting friends in
that?
toilets?
Yes, like the girls that you met in the toilets of clubs were like, you suddenly struck up this like really nice conversation. Like,
Okay, yeah.
This, that, whatever, and that girl would have been the one actually holding your hair back if you were being sick in the toilet and she didn't even know you. There was a thing, like a camaraderie type thing.
That's a mutual respect and loyalty, and it's not. I don't
being
think
a decent
girl
human
code.
being.
It's just being a decent human being, isn't it? It's just.
Yeah.
I think this girl code thing. I mean, look, I'm the woody of the group, clearly, but is it like just in the dating world? Is it just in the dating realms? Because I didn't date much. Maybe that's why I don't know. But
I didn't really date much, to be honest. But
is it just? It just seems to be in sort of male and female relationships. That code, it just exists in that realm.
This is what you're talking about, the context girl code,
decency, and just. I don't know. I mean, did she break girl code on that show?
I
show.
like
or the boy code or whatever.
It is a show, but it's like, like it's a show, and obviously you're there, and it's not like a absolute binding marriage. But I feel like it kind of shows what kind of a person you are. If it's like, I know this is a show, it's not a real marriage and whatever, but then it's like there are certain rules of the experiment that you're in, and you have to kind of respect those rules and people's feelings as well. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
no,
do you know what? This other girl's crying because this guy doesn't like her. Her apparent, husband doesn't like her, and she really wants to make it work. And then you're there going, "Oh, quite like him," and it's like, you don't want them to kind of like sort out their situation and then come out of that. And then I feel like then the decent thing to do is like, okay, is this formally you stepped away from this? I'm now going to step in, right? I just feel a bit like then the flirting behind people's backs and all this. I don't think it's the decent thing to do personally.
But is that just not a sign of the society that we live in these days? Maybe when we were growing up, we just didn't do those things. Like, that was the values that we had growing up were maybe slightly different to what they are now. Everyone yeah, I think so. It seems to be a bit of a free for all. It's more easy to flirt with people because you have more access to people online. And again, in that situation, they're all there looking for their best life partner. So why are you going to settle for second best if that person, the other person's not? It's that, it's a game in their head, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
a case of love at first sight or whatever it was, married at first sight, like our Indian ancestors might have done, where they had no other choices. That was it. They weren't thinking, oh my god, that person or that person or that person or that person. Once that thing was done, it was done, and they lived with it and they accepted it. Whereas we're not so accepting these days. We're like, that could be better, that could be better, let me keep my options open. We're that kind of society these days, right?
This whole keeping your options open, I do feel definitely there's that going on. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of like, like I think we were a bit more kind of open about saying, I like you, you like me, we are going out, and this is obviously an exclusive thing, right? It's not like, oh, you know what, I've still got about 5 other people on the go. That wasn't normal.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Whereas now I feel it is. I feel like, like, I don't know, 6 months later, after you've like done this and that, slept with someone and stuff, you then might mention, oh, do you know what? Should we be exclusive? Right. And then 6 months after that, you might have the actual himmat to be like, I actually love you, whether you do or not. And whereas I feel like we still had that thing of like, I love you was a yes. And people were quite a bit more forthcoming with the fact that they loved someone, maybe
Well, just to be exclusive though. To be exclusive with somebody is, these days it's like, yeah, I'm chatting to you and I'm maybe chatting to 4 other girls at the same time, and then I'll pick. I still can't do that, which is probably why I have a problem dating, because it's not like that out there. Because people are talking to 1 million people, and as soon as they say to me like, yeah, I'm also talking to 4 other girls, it's like, well, you ain't got time to talk to me then, mate. Bye.
Is that the norm then that you're finding? Like,
yeah, that's the norm I'm finding. Like that's what it is. Like, people are chatting to loads of people, and people who are interested in you will then say, oh, so have you chatted to anyone else? How you going? And I'm like, I'm not. What? It's not.
You've
I'm
now
not.
got to
I can't do
discuss
that.
how your other dates are going.
That's
yeah. So I don't do that, and I don't do that. So I can't. I'm, you either kind of make a commitment to, if something's like 60-70% of the way, you make a commitment to date that person exclusively and try and see if the rest of it works, right? But you can't do that if your mind's on a million different other people. So
yeah,
I mean, going back to the show, I don't know, like, obviously the experts got it wrong with those guys, and those two have decided, oh, actually we have a connection, let's get together. It's not as if like she or the guy had known anybody yet. They weren't like long-term friends, were they? They're just like other people on a show. It's just like dog eat dog, mate.
it's a game, right?
It's a game show.
I know,
to get the best person for yourself.
I think that's how they kind of played it. Like, oh, I've come here to feel butterflies in my stomach, and I'm going to feel it, god damn it, with someone else's husband, whatever. But I feel like it does show like who you are as a person. Like, if that's your mindset, that's what I think.
But if them two got together and lived happily ever after, then what would you say?
Then I'll still be like, well, do you know what? The way you went about it was wrong. And maybe if you were meant to be, you would have still been, even after you came out of this thing, or after you like.
But then would you still not have broken girl code then?
Yeah, but once something is like properly, like, it is over, buried. Do you know what I mean?
It's like, I don't know if it was over.
Your other wife's not cold yet, mate. And then this girl's coming. Do you get what I mean? So it's like, I feel like, Yeah, I don't know. Like,
What, you have to wait for somebody else, because in that time, if you waited for the other person to go cold, do you think there might have been a chance that she might have then missed out on her long-term forever person?
no,
Or did she have to grab the chance while she had it?
No, I personally believe that if something is going to happen and it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. Even things like, like sometimes when you're you like somebody, they like you, but then things don't line up. Do you get what I mean? And you end up going
With the
different ways.
stars, and
Doing that
50
with
years
yeah,
later,
yeah,
and then you come back
Oh
together
God,
again.
this is
Why?
this is too Bollywood. This is too
This,
Bollywood.
yeah, exactly. You're getting Bollywood on
You
us.
don't believe in all this.
Yeah,
It
well,
might be,
you're talking
but why
about
lose out on it for 50 years? And get together
yeah.
when you're 60 again. What's the point about that? What's the point of
Kismet,
that?
man.
70
Rena's
even.
into the Kismet. She's like Kismet.
I am.
Kismet will bring you back together when you're old and grey, and you can enjoy your love then, after you've dealt with crap for the last 50 years.
So what are you saying? Just jump at your opportunity, and if that's what you want, go for it. Is that what you're saying?
One, I
in
don't
a
believe
game
in the
show,
show.
TV show scenario, yes.
Yeah, because they're all in it for
I'm
themselves.
glad you're married at home, Rummy, and not
I know. I mean, this is
you know,
why I
like
can't do these.
married
Like,
at first sight doing randomness.
But no, I just think a game show, that isn't a real scenario anyway. They're in it for themselves. They're in it to be on TV. It's a very fake scenario altogether. If you're hearing, by the way, sorry, if you're hearing knocking sounds and things like that, we've got builders in the house, by the way. So just ignore them. It's not anyone knocking on my door. But yeah, but all that's kind of fake scenario, and it's not true to anything. And I think there's a code of behavior, like etiquette, behavior, that kind of stuff, but it's not girl code. I don't think you should have to give up everything of yourself just because another person's a girl, or another person's a woman.
It gets a bit awkward.
That's a bit silly.
I mean, it does get a little bit awkward sometimes with, girl code, and we're supposed to stick together and all this kind of thing. Like I'm going to be honest, like without giving too much of this scenario away of who people are, there was an instance that I basically, I basically, okay, so there's a couple who were together for a long time, okay? They had kids and everything. And, I knew the woman through the guy because he was the one that was close to me, okay? And so, this was an on-off relationship, and then they broke up. And then, as far as I know, the girl, the woman has been like, okay, it's really sad, but it's over. And kind of, I'm like, oh, okay, is it really over then? I'm really sorry to hear that. It's not very good and whatever. But then it's like, okay, as far as I know, the last conversation I had with you was that this is done, right? And then, then this guy starts going out with somebody else and shares a picture of this new girl on Instagram. And then I reply, because obviously this is somebody who, I've known for a very long time. I reply to that Instagram story, is that your new girlfriend very pretty? Which she was, right? Okay. Then the ex, who I was friends with and thought I was still a friend with, for some reason, ended up seeing this message, which was obviously a private message, right? And then, we had this kind of WhatsApp exchange of like, oh, you're like, I basically got cancelled. I got cancelled very quickly.
Because you commented on your friend's photo.
On your male friend's photo.
Yeah. About, and the thing is, and then I felt bad about it. I did feel really bad about it, because I was just like, I didn't want you to see that. I wasn't being a snake, but it's just like I understand the fact that it's sensitive, and I didn't want you to see that, because I know it must feel quite bad. But then the thing is, this is actually like, this guy, I've known him for like, 20 years, and obviously he's the one that I knew first, and I knew you afterwards, that I want him to actually be happy. I thought this was a mutual thing. You've chosen to move on. So if you have moved on, that's nice. Be happy with whoever you're with. But then, and I kind of felt like, oh, was that like breaking girl code, or, do you know what I mean?
I think every situation's different.
I haven't spoken to that person since. And this,
yeah, but I think every situation's different, and every situation depends on your relationships with people. Like I was saying, certain circles of friends, certain friends behave differently, and people personally as well. So you think, okay, this person would be okay with that, this person wouldn't. Sometimes you get it wrong. But often when things go wrong in a relationship and people use their friends as like punch bags and cushions or whatever you want to call it, right? It is like the friendships that get damaged. How many times have you had a couple who've argued and done everything and spoken to you and spilt their heart out to you, then gone back to each other, and then you're left feeling like a bit awkward? I've had that. I get that a lot.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're
Warring
literally fine with
couples,
them. You're literally like almost
and then they're back
encouraging
together,
yourself
and who are
to do it, and
you?
then yeah. Oh my
So
God.
where's the code there? Where's the friendship code there? Where's the what code there? You know, it works two ways. But I just think it's about being decent people and yeah, and respecting each other and that kind of thing. But I don't think it's got anything to do with girl code, because if girl code exists, that means we're not allowing girl code, woman code, whatever you want to call it. If that means we're not allowing the men to take responsibility for their behavior, right?
No, I think as
If
far as
if we're saying to a girl, you shouldn't do that, but that if that guy likes her back, you're saying if your ex likes your friend, what, you know, you're saying to your girlfriend, girl code, you're breaking girl code. What about your ex? What code's he breaking? Why are you putting the responsibility on the woman and not on the man? There's an issue there as well. So I just think it's about, I don't think girl code, guy code should exist. And I think sometimes you can hide bad behaviors behind girl code and guy
definitely.
code,
Yeah,
right?
it's just
Because
icky. It's just icky.
it's just messy.
Yeah, I just don't like the connotation of it, really. So.
could you and have you ever been able to make a friendship with like a partner's ex or somebody that they had a thing with?
What do you mean? A partner?
Your partner?
Yeah.
Your partner's ex-girlfriend. Could you be their friend? Have you had a situation where then you've ended up friends and gotten past that? Oh my God, you were
I am friends with an ex, and he's married, and I know his family, and I know his sisters, and I know everything.
No, I mean, say if you got married to somebody, went out with somebody, and he had an ex-girlfriend, yeah, that you kind of knew, and would you be okay then to be her friend?
I don't know. It just depends. It depends on I think, like I say, every situation is different. I'm not the same with every person I've dated. I'm not the same with. So I don't have
if
many
it's like a
exes.
mutual breakup and
you just don't get on. Yeah, it's still, I'm saying every situation is different, isn't it? If you think, yeah, we dated for 3 weeks, we didn't really hit it off as a couple, but we're gonna stay friends, and you're happy for them when they move on, what's the problem, right?
Yeah. I mean, we think that way, but then a lot of people are like, that's it. You should never do that. You're dead to me.
Yeah, but there's other relationships where I wouldn't. There's other like longer relationships where things have been more complicated and stuff, where actually I don't want to know my ex and I don't care who he's with. Right?
Okay.
So there's that situation too. And there's always situations of girls getting jealous. And we had it at university where like even guys who are friends girls would be like, oh, what you being like that for? You know, I fancy him. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm helped getting you together, but he's my friend. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't fancy him.
But it's that kind of
that's another girl's insecurity,
yeah,
and that insecurity is being pushed onto you, and that gets hidden behind a girl code, right? Because that's just nonsense. You know, if I've got male friends,
I told you it was nonsense in the first place. I was like, no, ladies, this is
just nonsense. I don't believe in girl code.
And you know, I know you guys said that there's a guy code, but really, do guys have a code?
I think
well?
guys actually stick to their guy code better than girls stick to girl code. Yeah. Guys are kind of like, I think guys do that thing better than we do. I think with women, and I don't like to generalize, but there is that kind of, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. But they're like, yeah, I want to date whatever. And it's like kind of out there. And if it's a no, it's a no. If they're going to fight about it, they're going to fight about it. And you all know they're going to fight about it. It's not like itty, bitty.
Yeah. Kind of and I like that about guys, the straightforwardness, actually. There's sometimes a little bit more straightforward. It's kind of, you know what, going back to like those cavemen days, like, let's have a fight about this, or just forget about it. You know what I mean? Like,
or just be cool about it.
Yeah, exactly.
There is, you know, where you kind of stand with them. But yeah. I think the guys kind of deal with the guy code better than the girls deal with the girl code. Girl code is just layers and layers of don't know what.
let's leave that there then. So let's
Yes,
talk about
please.
the M word, how you feeling about the M word, because it's menopause month. And I just wanted to chat to you guys and see how you're feeling about this, because like I mean, we've had no reason to talk about it much really, but I feel like I've been thinking about it a little bit more now, maybe because of my age, or people are talking about it a little bit more. How are you feeling about menopause, perimenopause?
Oh, I don't know. I seem to be thinking about my health a little bit more. So any changes that I'm noticing, not my skin or my hair and stuff, I'm kind of thinking, oh my God, that's it. It's perimenopause. Oh, it's here. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
Or I kind of find myself thinking, it could be anything. It could be like, I don't know, a bad hair day, and I'm going, oh my God, or I'm just feeling really hot, and then feeling really cold, and then just feeling really hot again. I'm thinking, oh my God, that's it. Was that a hot flush? So I don't know. I feel like I'm like, oh my God. I'm always like, is this the menopause? So I'm hyper vigilant about sort of symptoms, and then going, just because I want to make sure that if it is, that I know that it is, and I'm not. It seems like the most scary part of menopause is that you go through this turmoil and ups and downs, and it's always the negative. I only ever hear the negative bits of it, right?
Yeah, I'm scared. I feel like I'm actually scared about it. And do you feel informed? Kirat? Like, do you feel like maybe your mom has spoken to you about it, or other people?
I feel informed. I feel okay about it. I'm scared about it for a different reason to both of you. So both of you are married and you've had kids, right? And I've not had that scenario. So for me, it's scary for a different reason. And despite what people say, it is scary for that reason. But otherwise for me, I feel okay about it. You take each day as it. I'm one of those to take each day as it comes, and you deal with everything on that day, and you go on. I'm that kind of person. So in that sense, I feel like ready for it. I'm keeping healthy. I do the things I need to do. I sometimes think we talk about things and make them more scary than they are,
Probably.
because our elders just got on with it.
Yeah, I was going
A
to
lot
say
of them
when
had a
you
million
said,
babies and they just got on with whatever they needed to do, however they needed to do, and they took it on. We as women are different to men. Yes, we need to deal with this. Yes, does it make the world an equal place? Yes, it does. So the world needs to help us adapt sometimes and be a bit nice to us. But we need to do our bit too to help ourselves. And I just think, yeah, for me, it's take it one day at a time. Seeing my mum go through it, seeing some of my aunties go through it. Some of my friends are beginning to talk about it and checking where they're at now. Some of them are getting blood tests to check if they are, and things like that, tests to check if they are and not. Me, yeah, it's scary for a different reason, but a day at a time.
I do get it. I do get that, the reason that you're saying, and it is that because it's a air of finality, isn't it? Like that comes with it.
Naturally, you can't conceive naturally if you wanted to anymore. And that's a big deal if you're not a mum at that age. And I think what really got me is a few years ago, and this was still while I was in my difficult situation. I watched a show, Alex Jones on the beat, from the One Show, but she had a documentary about her. She was worried about having babies late in life. She was married, she hadn't had kids, and she did a whole show exploring the menopause, when she would possibly go through the menopause, looking at family history, and it was really deep. And she was exploring her fears about the same thing. And that hit me hard, and I think that stayed with me it stayed with me quite a lot. And you think about it, but in terms of like physically, it's like I'm okay, like mentally, physically, I think otherwise I'm okay, but that's the only fear.
I was looking at some just some research yesterday, and there was some research, right, according to a new survey, that 7 in 10 women blame the menopause for their divorce or marriage problems, with some saying it has increased arguments or domestic abuse.
oh gosh, that's
Scary.
awful. Yeah, that is awful.
A lot of people brain fog and like more irritability and that kind of thing. And it's like, you know, even like, because Demeter McCall, like I really like the fact that she talks about this kind of stuff now.
Yeah.
Me too.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, she said that, you know, I think she was on a TV show and she couldn't remember somebody's name. Like
Lawrence
yeah.
Llewellyn Bowen.
She's like, I can't remember your name, and you might feel like, oh my god, like is this early onset Alzheimer's or something like that? But you know, that's what it's good to know that okay, these things, brain fog, it's a normal thing. It's okay.
We need to talk about them. I'm not saying we don't need to talk about them. I'm just saying that's how I deal with it.
Mhm.
But I think, I think normalizing it so that people, partners, men, understand that these things happen and they need to accommodate. You know, I know like a lot of times, my dad didn't understand. And I know a lot of times, even though I've, you know, with 3 men in the house, like I have bad PMT and I know I can be emotional on certain days before, and I know I am. And I know if somebody gets somewhat bad, whatever, they're going to get it from me. Right. But if I'm saying I've got PMT as well at the same time, then you know, that kind of accommodating situation, if you're openly saying this is my situation, I know I'm a bit emotional on those days, but but also not to rubbish what I'm actually saying, but just be like, yeah, she's overly emotional maybe, or she's feeling it more than she would feel it, but it doesn't mean what I'm saying is wrong, but just accommodate for the over emotion. And the same way with the menopause, you know, like I've seen mum was terrible at the beginning, and her hot flushes, cold flushes, it was really difficult. And I think dad didn't always necessarily understand, but that's because she didn't talk about it as openly, or people especially in our community, it's even harder to talk about. You know, it's like, oh, a woman's not fertile anymore. Whoa, you know, being fertile is a great big thing in our community, isn't it? So even though it's the end of you've been there, done that, had your babies, done that, it still seems to be a bit of an issue and makes women less desirable apparently. But I don't think that's the case. That's just brainwashing.
Yeah. I also get bad PMT, and that's what I'm most worried about. I'm worried for my family, not myself. If they're going to
it's people around me. Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about, to be honest. So I also had a look at this list, right? That I found on this article, because there's a lot of articles now floating about menopause, which is good because it's menopause month. So one article was about things that you can look forward to menopause, right? The good points about menopause. So saying goodbye to periods forever. And this is, I did actually think when I was younger, I was like, menopause sounds great because you don't have to have periods. And then after that, since then, I've heard women who are menopausal saying, do you know what? Give me a period, give me a heavy period. I will have a heavy period regularly, happily, rather than go through all this other crap that I'm going through. So, but you know, when you're young and dumb and you don't realize. So, but yes, I guess.
But have you never had that situation where like, I just want my period? Like, have you not felt like that way? Because you're like, you should feel normal again. You know, it's coming up to period, and you're like, just want my period, just come, just get it out of the way, just come, and you know you can deal with life after it. I've been like that.
No.
Have you not? Okay, maybe it's just me.
We get it. Yeah, just stay away from us at a certain time of the month.
It's like it's just like, let me have a period. I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm quite boring when it comes to period. I didn't really have it PMT.
Stable.
Thing, so.
The word is stable, and it's good for me.
Stable.
I've suffered from really bad period pain, so I'm not even gonna.
So that's a good thing, right? So no need for sanitary protection. So we're not supposed to say sanitary anymore, are we? We're supposed to say period products because it's not a dirty thing. It's completely normal. Anyway, so the fear of unwanted pregnancy is removed. Sex without contraception.
Still not great.
I know, it's like, okay, you might want to still consider contraception, you know, just to keep yourself safe. I don't think diseases go away because your period has gone away. You feel more free. I don't know about that. I don't know.
I mean, about that. You couldn't say that. I was looking at this list, right? That same list, I think. And I was looking at some of these, and it's like we wouldn't know. You're just projecting hope.
Yeah, I know, but then it's good to hope. Then I think part of it is also like about getting older anyway. You know what I mean? I feel like the whole feeling more free, like as I'm getting older, feeling more free. And like, so the next one is experiencing a new lease sort of appreciation for life. Now, and one of them is feeling more liberated, having more confidence. So I feel like that comes with getting older anyway. So around that age,
But the menopause isn't like your period just stop one day. It happens gradually. You're still
Yeah,
kind of wondering
exactly.
when they're going to stop. So it's not like, yes, I've got a new lease of life. I've like gone through. You don't actually know when you've stopped until for a long period of time, you've gone through something.
Yeah, it's actually the process of going through it is still really difficult. But these are the nice bits at the end, right? That you can only, and we're not going to know any of those, until we're there, mate.
One sex is mentioned 2 times on here. Better sex and a higher sex drive, apparently.
We don't know.
No, I know, but you know what? This is a great list for hope.
It's a great
It's a very nice, positive, hopeful list that we should all keep.
But I think it's actually, we laugh, but it's really important, because I think the three of, otherwise menopause is just seen as like, hush hush,
negative.
She's going through the change. That's all I remember when I was a kid. My mom might have said, "Oh yeah, she's going through the change."
Yes, that is it. My mom does that as well with the change. The body which changes, changes. It's like, what is this change thing?
Yeah.
It's like the other word. They use like weird words to say things like smart instead of beautiful, or it's like, what? It's just like, they code. This isn't code. Desi code.
Yeah. Desi code.
Desi code.
It is.
Oh,
it is.
But no, as I was saying, it's just nice to see, a positive article that ladies, yes, it's a difficult stage to go through, and once you're through the other side, these are the nice things that it just gives people hope, doesn't it? Because at the moment, sometimes, and Davina's doing a lot of work on it, and to people in our age group, that's really good, because we've grown up with seeing Davina on the TV and all that kind of stuff. So. And she's being a champion for it, and she's pushing for legislative change and all this kind of stuff, and HRT treatments and all. It's all. I'm feeling like it's not something to sort of be daunted by anymore. I'm feeling informed. I'm informing myself, and it's not just me just doing my own little research. It's us talking about it, and then actually just in the wider community, and actually not being afraid to. Just say to people. I mean, would you just say to people, "Oh, sorry, that's just me and my menopause"?
Well, I don't know, and this is the way I am. I would probably be like, "Oh, do you know what? I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'll turn up, put on my professional face, and you're not going to know anything about me." So I would probably do that. Whereas it probably might be better to be like, "Do you know what? I am going through the menopause. I don't know how I'm going to be."
I think there's a balance, though. I think rather than this whole like I'm put myself all out there all the time, every bit of me, like that, like what like we've become as a society, there has to be a bit of professionality, but then you still have to have those conversations, and again, have conversations with your friends. Like we're talking about this right now. I talk about it with my other friends, right? And having healthy conversations with your girlfriends is a really empowering thing. Don't keep it to yourself, but it doesn't mean you have to always go out to the whole world and say, guess what? I am this. You don't have to do it that way, because some people do, right? And but thing is, sometimes I feel like the more information that there is out there, and the more sort of scientific stuff that people tell you, it scares people.
Yeah. It does.
There's that too.
On my other live that I did this week about the boob check 101, right? So I shared on there about finding lumps under my arms, how I had them for ages, and the whole process of getting them checked and stuff. And then even like my own husband was like, "Oh, why are you telling the whole world about this?" And I'm like, I don't actually care, because you know what? The reason I'm saying it is, yes, it is a personal thing, but the thing is, some people that might actually help somebody. Like some people may not know that, or be like, "Well, what's this?" Or you might not know that breast tissue can exist under your arms, and check here as well as just.
No, that was really useful. No, that was really good. Thank you for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad it was good. A lot of people thought that was quite helpful, and I just think that the certain things just keep it to yourself. But even the reason that we're talking about this is because a lot of people might be feeling like this, and on this list as well is making new friends. And it's like, and I feel like, okay, you can make new friends at any age, and it's nice to know you can still make new friends when you get older. But this whole thing of like, you know, we are going through this thing that is very specific to women. It's our gender goes through it, and we're going to actually be a bit open and talk about it. And you know, it's not easy, so let's actually talk about it with each other, even if we don't spill it out to the whole world. And that's quite a nice thing.
Having these
do.
conversations is so important, and I think being able to go to work and be able to say to your manager, I am going through this stage of my life, and I think that has to be something that's normalized.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that those things are important. What I'm saying is you don't have to go there, and everybody doesn't have to go out there and say, I am going through this, I don't know this, and tell it to the whole world, but do talk about it with your friends and stuff. Some, you know, like there is like TMI, you know, but it is important to have these discussions. Just be sensible about where you have them, I think, and how you have them as well. Because at the same time, and I hate to bring this up, for those that don't understand, they do target and vilify as well, and that will just make you feel worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you're feeling vulnerable at that time as going through it, and then you put it out there, and then you find actually people aren't as supportive, and people are saying nasty stuff online or on socials or whatever. It's not going to help you in any way, but do talk to the right people, supportive people around you.
Yeah. So do you see this comment that popped up? There is a hang on, let me put it back.
Yeah, I saw
There's
that.
a guy code, 100%. There's a guy code. Yes, that's what we were talking about. There's a guy code. We get it. We respect it. You do you got, you know, do pistols at dawn, whatever you're gonna do, or whatever you guys do. We
they just talk it out, have a couple of beers, it's all good, mate.
Yeah, we respect it. We respect it.
I think as long as no one's bashing each other with the code, we're all good.
Yeah,
boy or girl.
So, okay, the last thing I want to talk about is how are you keeping warm? Because obviously it's a big deal now. Like energy prices are like mad crazy at the moment. You know, there's 80% increase in energy costs. Even what the government is offering to help is not a lot. So a lot of people are like, it's a topic of conversation at the school gates. Have you put your heating on yet? Have you put your heating on yet? And yesterday I came across a couple of different articles on news websites about women who have managed to, I don't know why, it doesn't matter that they're women or not, but they just happen to be women. They were living without heating for years, and now they're sharing their tips on how people can do it. And obviously the reason that they're sharing these tips and that people are, you know, viewing it so much is because we want to know, you know. So what are you guys doing? What is the plan? What's the plan?
So we haven't put our heating on yet, and normally it would be on by now, but it's quite warm. So the weather hasn't been, I mean, it's like 17, 18 degrees, right? I'm in the south, so I think we've been quite lucky. Normally, by the time the kids have gone to school, like the start of September, our heating would have been on. Like last year, it would have been on definitely, most definitely by mid-September. So now, what is it now? The 19th of October, we're still not putting the heating on. So we're just trying to be a bit more mindful and just trying to, you know, manage without it. I think, like I said, I think the weather has helped so far, but going forward, I think is going to be really difficult. But, you know, we've got one of those energy meters. We've switched, like, and when I say we, I have done none of this. My husband has done all the research. Sat's done all the research, and we even switched to like a lower, you know, like a night. Do you remember Economy 7?
Yes, my dad used to go on about Economy 7 all the time.
All the time, right? So because we've got an electric car, and so with this tariff was available to us that we could charge it at a lower rate overnight. But then you can obviously use the washing machine and the dishwasher at that time as well. So it's a slightly higher tariff during the day, but a lower tariff. It's like 40p during the day per kilowatts, but 10p during the night. So we've made that switch because obviously we you know, we're charging the car. But then now trying to switch to not just putting the dishwasher or the washing on. Dishwasher always goes on at night anyway, but the washing machine, I mean, I would just do in between Zoom meetings or whatever. So that's a bit of a change.
What are we supposed
just
to be
doing? Whatever we can. Sorry.
Wait, when are we supposed to do in the washing then? Night?
You can stay up at night and do everything now, right?
Well, no, not gonna
night shift. No, I'm just like looking at Rena's face.
Just
yeah, exactly. Now I
like
have
a 2 a.m. alarm.
nocturnal. No, it's just putting it on at night. So just using, I've got one of those with an app, and you put it on, and it will you just put it out in the morning. So just doing a little bit like that. I might buy some draft excluders, but then when it needs to go on, we will put it on. Yeah, I mean, I did read these articles that, of these ladies that are these women who have managed to, one was kind of like, yeah, I've got lots of blankets and hot water bottles, and, she's got a wood burner. So they use the wood burner.
She's like, oh, I recommend a wood burner. It's like, well, do you know what? Not everyone's going to.
She lives out in the Cotswolds. She doesn't have to quite think about.
Exactly. And it's like, if you're renting a property, your landlord's not going to be like, yeah, cut a hole in my ceiling so you can put your wood burner in and heat the whole house, right? So that's not really going to work.
The other one was a bit more like, you've got to get the condensation off the window. And then her tips were like really
real tips.
Extreme, right? Because don't use your best cups, and because you might break a cup, a ceramic cup.
It might be so cold that they might crack when you put the boiling water in.
I know. Yeah. I was just like reading that going, oh my God. And then damp and bed sheets being damp. And I was just like reading it going, oh my God.
I did feel sad.
So I think before, where we wouldn't have been, we've just blasé, put the heating on. I think we're going to obviously still put the heating on. We've got 3 young children, but just to have a little bit more of being a little bit more mindful. I was freezing last night actually watching Bake Off on TV. And I was like so tempted to like put the gas fire on, and just because it's just a gas fire in that room, right? So, but then because we've been talking to the kids about saving energy, and we talk to them about everything. The kids were like, "No, Mummy, no, I'm just gonna go. I'll go get your hot water bottle." And Mahi ran upstairs and she got my hot water bottle. I obviously didn't let her fill it, but I was just like, oh, "Thank you, that's really helpful." And it was fine. Then I was fine. Just had the hot water bottle. So just making decisions like that while we can, until we can, and until it's like, okay, I've got like condensation on my nose now. Let's just put the heating on.
One of the ladies was like, yeah, have loads of hot drinks, and like, so the hot drinks that I like to have is coffee. So I will literally be caffeinated to my eyeballs, because I'll be like, oh, I'm so cold, I'll have more coffee. And that's actually mental, obviously. One thing I've started,
you should have herbal teas, because they count towards your water intake. I hate
herbal teas. Do you know how hard I've tried to like herbal teas over the years? I've tried so hard to like herbal teas, and I pretended to like them a lot of the time. I pretended.
Certain ones that I can deal with, and that's the ones I have. But for anyone that knows me, I do not do the cold. And I think you both know that.
I don't do the cold either.
I don't do the cold to the point where I have a fan heater. I've had a fan heater in my room over summer. And and
I had a fan heater and a fan next to each other, next to my bed, because I
have my window open because I need the fresh air in, and then have the heating on and the heater on. So that's the sad person that I am, because I can't function in the cold. I physically can't function. My brain can't think except for I am cold.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't work. I just want to curl up. And in summer, I am the absolute opposite. It can be 40 degrees outside and I will go to the gym. It's like, I am happy to do that. I will. And everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, no, I'm fine. I can cook in the kitchen with the oven on and everything on in the heat. I am the only weird one like that in our house. But so this is difficult for me. Come 30th of September, I put my fan heater away in my room.
Are you okay? Because I know this is
I'm not okay. I wasn't okay because I had to, because then last week I was ill and then I took it out. But I am consciously using it less. But then the other thing, the reason I use it less is because I also have dry eye and a dry throat.
Yeah,
so the blepharitis, but is quite severe. But then I also have a really dry throat. And as you know, when we're talking and all this kind of stuff, constantly, whatever. So me, it's tea and tap. And I don't have that many jumpers because I'm like a jeans and vest kind of person. And all I pretended to do in winter was put blazers and sweatshirts on over things. So it's just like my summer wardrobe with a different jacket and just boots and trainers instead of sandals and flip-flops. So I have had to invest in a few more of these, and I'm wearing them already. So I don't know what I'm going to do in a couple of month's time.
Keep
Not
wearing
wearing
them.
socks.
Just keep wearing them. So
Yeah.
this year I've actually
When it
got
gets
rid of
cold, I
none of
need
my
more.
jumpers.
You will
Yeah,
need, you need a
exactly.
jumper under a jumper. I do that. My children
I
are like,
hate layering, and that's one thing about me. I hate layering. I hate anything up here on my throat. I hate. So, you know, you probably see me in winter. I'm always got scarves on loose around my neck because that's how I keep myself warm. But the
Yeah.
thing is, so for me, it's going to be about layering, always having socks on at home.
Yeah.
I have like 2-3 pairs of socks on
I go to
sometimes.
bed with socks as well. I have bed
So do
Yeah,
I.
go to bed,
I
extra
wanted to get,
blankets.
yeah, extra blankets. The
And we've
socks
got an extension going on, like I said as well. So at the moment, full whack
open.
in the cold, it's all open downstairs
Yeah.
and it's dusty. So it's not great. And just hot drinks. I have to function. Otherwise, yeah, I go into hibernate mode.
Yeah, so do I. I like, you know, when you just want to curl up in a ball
That's
and
it.
you just,
Cold.
my
That's it.
fingernails go
Can't do
blue.
anything.
My
Yeah.
fingernails go blue in my own house because I'm no, I do. They do, and my nose because like
Nose is the worst.
yeah, and like and like obviously my delightful husband always makes jokes about, oh my god, your nose is like in a different time zone, isn't it? That's why it gets so cold because yeah. Anyway, it
I knew
does
you were going to
because
say that.
I can, but but it's so cold, and you know, if I hug someone and my nose touches them, they're like, what the hell? Like, are you
If
okay?
your
What?
nose is cold, you are actually cold.
Yeah,
Forget
I
your
know.
feet and your hands. If your nose is cold, that's it.
Right now, yeah,
That's a sign. I
yeah.
always know I'm really cold when my nose is cold, and I'm always doing
No,
this. You'll see me doing this when I'm cold. You're like, my nose. That's
I
how I
understand.
check.
It's like it's
I
going
Get
to
get
it,
it.
drop
Rena.
off.
I'm not the weird one. I'm not the only
Even
weird one that does stuff like that. But yeah,
even
but I have
sometimes when I have
to.
coffee, I put the cup like this. Oh my.
My cup goes all over my face. It goes anywhere where it needs to go, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like
You have tea.
You might as well just
I'm sitting
transferring
there.
heat.
I
do
sit there and I
that.
hold my mug like this, and then I hold it mother, and because of my blepharitis as well, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And it's like that, and then on my head.
You can put
And
the bottom
my
of a
dad does
mug
it as
right
well.
in your
My
eye
dad does it
there.
as well.
Like,
Yeah,
like that.
but yeah,
Nice.
but my dad does it as well. And he gets cold. I'm gonna say he gets cold, and he does that kind of stuff too. And I'm not the only one, but I'm probably more active than him in the cold, but in some ways. But he does tell me off for. He thinks it's funny how I have the fan heater. I've had it since a kid. So
Yeah,
I've always had a fan heater in my room since I've been a kid because I've always felt the cold. So I'm scared. I'm worried, but at the same time, you just got to do what you got to do, right, to help everybody. And even though we're not poor or anything like that, it's just about doing the right thing and keeping the bills down for everybody in the house. And being sensible about stuff.
Mhm.
And you know, it's just good practice, best practice, just with energy, the environment, all of that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so the kids are loving their 4-minute showers. So I've got
are you
timers
timing
on in
them?
the showers now.
Your
Yeah.
kids
Timer in
are
the
amazing.
shower.
They're proper on it.
But well, they do love a fan heater though, whilst they're getting changed when they've come out of the bath. And I'm like, no, let's try and just
Do star
in
jumps.
the heat, just in the heat of the bath, you know, the steam.
Like with the steam,
just do it really quickly because they want to lounge about and. You know, yeah, I know. I feel really nasty.
One
but,
of the,
you know, they should get used to these things. It's fine. They're good.
you know, you said with the steam of the bathroom, like one of the articles was like, when you have a shower, leave the bathroom door open so that the steam and the hot steam can go into the rest of
into
the
the
house or
house.
whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you would want to do that. I mean, I've got this habit of like, I'll be having conversations with my kids and I literally won't even close the door and I'll go to the bathroom and keep on having my conversation with them, which is fine. But then I started doing it when I go to other people's houses as well. And then what are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I forgot. But the door open, I don't know about that. One thing I do, and I'm like a proper grandma, is like before I get into my bed, and this is like, so you can have the heating off, right? And then do this. You need to be in a warm bed. That's the worst thing, to be in a cold bed, right? So I get the fan heater and I heat my bed up with my fan heater before I get into it, or a hairdryer, whatever is
Go ahead.
available, right? I'll heat it up, and I don't care if this is like woodified or whatever. I think my dad used to do this as well. He probably still does it.
Why don't you
But
sit on the bed for a while before getting into it?
That actually, it's
No,
not bad. If you read in bed, and obviously, if you're just going to jump into bed and go to sleep, that's difficult. But if you sit in it or sit up in it,
Sit
at
on
least so
it
it's
and
a
then get
little
in it.
bit.
It's a
But
little
then,
bit warmer.
mate, it's hot water bottles all the way. I
Yeah,
think
hot
sales
water
of hot water bottles will be, you know.
I have
So I'm
a
planning to. I've literally melted through one, so I need a few more now because
I
I
have one
think
of those
we'll be using them a
beanies,
lot.
microwave beanies as well.
Yeah,
there's
they're
Like
quite
I've got
good.
those. Yeah, I sent Dad ruined a couple that I gave to him, and then yeah, so I've got a new one, and yeah, but they're good as well. Just stick it in the microwave for a minute, and it's fine for a while.
yeah, instead of standing there with a
But
hairdryer.
it's like we talk about all of this, and the thing is, for me, this is about conserving energy, right? It's not just about the heating; it's about electricity generally, and it's like how many gadgets do we have that we charge? How, like we don't use mechanical stuff anymore. So if we were a bit more sensible, maybe we don't need an electric alarm clock, maybe we don't need an electric this and an electric that, maybe we can use more mechanical things that we used to do and move our arms and legs a bit more to keep them moving. So what, you have to remember to wind up a clock or something like that, or we weren't using that much power. We're constantly charging everything all the time.
even when it's
That uses
charged as
power.
well. One of the best books that I have read recently is this book, and I need to remember what it's called, but it is a book for kids, and I got it in the library. Oh, I've got this really funny comment which I'm going to read out in a minute. But this book, I got it from the library, and it is about like how to kind of save the planet for kids. It's kind of like a paperback book, and it's so good. And I've literally learned so much from this kid's book. And then it's like most devices are charged after a certain time, but we leave them in. And then, it's pennies kind of draining away. They don't need to be on charge after they're fully charged. So you're just wasting energy. Just things like that.
Yeah, it's small things. I don't think we need to just
so
kind of realize that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Let me.
You need to read that one.
I've got another comment. What?
You should read that one out.
Can you see this?
Yes. Can I read it?
Go on then. Can you see
You
it?
need to put it back up. No, you need to put it back up for me to read. You should read it.
Oh, it is off, isn't it?
It's not, you've taken
You
it.
might want to consider the person already in the bed before putting the fan heater on. That
is a very sensible comment, actually, because if my brother's sitting on the sofa, I always tuck my feet under him or cuddling, and he's always like, get off me, because he's always hot. And I'm like, but you're my radiator.
Well, the thing is, the fan heater thing, I am only using it. Body heat, yeah. So I'm only using the fan heater if I get into bed before my husband, okay? Because otherwise he's the heater. Okay. I don't need the fan heater, okay? So, obviously using him for heat as well as other things. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of people this year. I know I'm going to put this out as well, that, body heat, cuddling, it's very nice in the winter. But you don't have to just get with somebody to have warm. That kind of warmth. Like the fan heater, if it's a choice between getting with somebody who's not right for you so you can cuddle someone in the winter and be warm, or a fan heater, I would say just go for the fan heater.
Just go for the fan heater. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Think on it before you jump in to a cold bed with somebody to try and keep warm. Think on it. Wait till spring at least. That's what I would say. Anyway, ladies, thank you so much for the tips, for the chat, for everything. And thank you for the comments, for those who have tuned in to the YouTube live. If you're listening on the podcast, then thank you for listening. If you want to see our faces and the random comments that pop up, that you can go to the MummyImperfect YouTube channel. But anyway, thank you for listening. And you can follow me on Insta, Rena D. Annabelle, or Sisterhood of MummyImperfect, where you can find info and clips of all the previous episodes of the Sisterhood of MummyImperfect. That is all from us. Until next week.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.